Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the channel. The colouring journal is out, treats have been given to Shadow so he doesn't jump up on the desk. I have a litre of sparkling water to keep myself hydrated and able to talk. So that must mean it's time for everyone's favourite video of the month, completed pages. I'm really excited to show you October 2024's completed pages, because we have a bit. The month of October, there was no theme, there was no goal, there was no specific anything that I was working towards in October. My only focus in October was to find my mojo again. The month of September was a bit of a write-off month for me. I had a mental breakdown, I had to move, I had a whole bunch of stuff going on in my life. And so I only managed to do 6 pages in October, which is September, which is very uncommon for me. So I said for the month of October that there was no pressure to do anything. I just wanted to colour. So whatever inspired me to colour was what we were going to colour. And that worked because I managed to complete 32 pages, working in 19 previously unworked books, doing 6 double spreads, and just lots and lots of things that I wanted to colour. So it was a really good month, and I can definitely say that I have found my colouring mojo again. So success. So because it's me, I have a tendency to ramble in these videos. They take me a while regardless of the number of pages I have, just because it takes a while. So I suggest you get a cup of tea, a snack, get yourself cozy and comfortable, grab your colouring to colour along with while I go through all these pages, and let's get into it. I'm super excited to show you everything. So these aren't in any particular order. They're just as I'm pulling them off the stacks, because I've had to stack them in a way that's easy to use. But we will start with the one whip from this month. This is the one page I did not complete. However, this one was already a whip, so it's just rolling over again. Also, just before I started filming this, I managed to knock over some water. I think most of it's just gotten on the cover though. It doesn't feel like any of the pages are wet, so we're okay. So this is Romantic Country, The Second Tale by Airy. This is my first and only Airy book, and I think that's why it's taking me a while, because I love the artwork in here. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous book, and I just want to take my time and produce beautiful pages that represent this beautiful line art. I see why Airy is so well loved in this community. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous illustration book, and I really do want to get more Airy eventually. But the page that I've been working on is this Menon flower cart page. So at the end of September, I had started doing the Inktense base, which is what I have completed here. I've used Derwent Inktense, and then I used an alcohol marker to actually activate the Inktense, which is something I don't normally do. I usually just use water, but I tried to use the alcohol markers. It has just shadowed for a little bit on this side. However, I'm probably going to block out the background behind here, or add in some sort of background or something. So I'm not too worried about the little bit of shadowing. So all the base colors are now done, and I have started going over and working with my Prismas and just shading in a few things. So I've done the leaves and the door, the frame here, and I've just started on the roof here. So we've still got a while to go, but I'm loving how this is progressing. I'm loving how bright and vibrant I can see it becoming, and I love it. I really love how this is turning out. And I'm not worried about the fact that this is now rolling over to a third month, because I'd rather take my time with it, because it's just so enjoyable. As much as I wanted to get it done so that I could do other pages in this book, because, oh, just so gorgeous. I cannot explain how much I've fallen into the Airy rabbit hole, and definitely want to get some more Airy books I think I've put a bunch of them on my Amazon wish list. I should go and double check that I have and start keeping an eye on them. Not that I'm buying books right now. We're on a bit of a purchase ban since I brought 12 new books in the month of October. Speaking of books that I absolutely love, Alien Worlds by Kirby Rosarms. I adore Alien Worlds. I adore Kirby's work. Kirby is definitely my favorite illustrator, or in my top 3 illustrators. I have every single Kirby book, including the compilations, and I adore what Kirby produces. And Alien Worlds is definitely in my top 3 of Kirby's books. I need to not do that because I shake the camera. Shadow has bumped the camera and it's a little fragile and delicate in its mounting at the moment, so I've got to look at that later. He likes to rub against my camera stand to like rub his neck. One of his favorite things. There he is. He heard his name being spoken. Don't know if the mic is picking up his little meows. My treats didn't work to keep you satisfied. You can't come up on the desk. We're filming. He's probably going to try and come up on the desk. Anyway, Alien Worlds. It's in my top 3 Kirby books. I adore this book. I adore what I produce in it, and I'm having so much fun in it. And I think because it's clicking for me so much because it's alien and you can do any colours. So it's incredibly freeing. I don't like colouring flora and fauna usually, and a lot of these planets have a lot of flora and fauna, and yet I'm all good doing it because it's just so fun and so alien. And there's Shadow. Oh, goodness me. Let's see if we can get you out of here. Come on. There's a space over here. Curl up. Come on. Let's give you some treats over there and get you out of the frame. I'm trying not to give him too many treats today because today is the 1st of November as I film this. And on the 5th of November, it is Guy Fawkes Day in New Zealand, where we celebrate people trying to blow up Parliament in the UK for some reason. But they sell fireworks, and fireworks are only available for 5 days here in New Zealand, from the 1st of November to the 5th of November. Which means for the next 5 days, there's going to be a lot of fireworks around, and Shadow gets very nervous. I'm trying to save his treats for tonight when he's going to need calming down, and, you know, he's going to need the love tonight. But also, we need him out of frame. Except his tail's right here. Anyway, challenges of now having a cat. So, Alien Worlds. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm also part of the Alien Worlds Data Explorers data report group that Candace from Happy Catastrophe has put together, and it is just a don't bump the camera, Shadow. It is a wonderful group of colorists, and it really inspires me to get into this book a lot. So I wanted to do some in here for Space Timber. Obviously September did not happen, so I was just missing it, and I decided this month that I would go for it. Come on, Shadow, over here. Good cat. Okay, I might have got him to settle. We'll see. We'll see. And now I have black fur all over the desk again. Anyway, so in the Alien Worlds Data Explorer group, we're pretending we're explorers and we're exploring this book planet by planet. Now, I am Admiral Amy of the Galactic Glitter Puff, and my ship's mission is to find the glitteriest, sparkliest, special nature of every individual planet. I haven't done the introduction pages. I have skipped those entirely. And I recently completed the what's this one called? The Lost Paradise. So yeah, lots of flora and fauna, and I didn't mind colouring it because I could make it whatever I wanted. So we've got beautiful glittery sky here. Now, prior to joining the group, I had also finished The Floating Kingdom. So this month, I went through and I was looking at The Floating Kingdom. This was completed when I was in hospital. And so all I had access to was polychromos pencils. So I would just go through and colour like all the yellow sky, all the peach planets, all the bits and pieces, and just work bit by bit. And then when I got out of hospital, I added in the glitter on top because I didn't have any glitters on me. And I believe this one I did entirely out of hospital as well. So part of me was thinking before I moved on to the next planet, if I wanted to come in here and just add more to this planet. Because when you compare it to the Lost Paradise, the Lost Paradise is a lot more vibrant, intense, and that is because it has an intense base. So the colors just pop so much more than the floating kingdom, which just has the polychromos on it. So I was spending a while looking through this planet, and while I was there, I also added the shimmer around my spaceship, because this shows the zoomies of me moving through space. And then I decided not to, because A, this is representative of a time when I was in hospital and literally only had the pencils on me. But then it's also the floating kingdom. Like, it's a little bit more ethereal and light, and that's what these pages feel like. Yes, they haven't got the vibrancy of the Lost Paradise, but they're still really gorgeous, light, ethereal pages. They've still got a lot of color and pigment. I can just tell that they're not the same. But that also frees me up for the other planets of the book for changing up my media, because I don't have to do intense the whole way through. I don't have to do the same media all the way through. And when it kind of clicked of, hey, if you leave it like this and you want to work on something else in a different media, that's not a bad idea. And so that led me onto the Water Kingdom. Now, I had also come in with 2 pages of, sorry, the Water Realm, this one's called. I'd done 2 pages of the Water Realm prior to joining the group. So I'd done this page with Prismacolor and this page with Polychromos and ink. So they have very different looks as well. Plus the white of these bubbles is just not as intense of the bubbles. So I do want to go in here and just whiten up these bubbles. I'll just grab a white Prisma and just go over all the bubbles and just make them a little bit more white. But because these are different areas of the water realm, I was like, maybe this one's just deep, deep down, or we're looking through glass. Part of me's tempted to put like a glaze over this to make it look like glass and maybe draw in a frame or something. So you're looking through a window and we're getting the glossy reflect of the glass, whereas this is like actually out in the water and you're seeing the texture directly, especially because of what I did this month. So having freed myself up from media, I looked at the Water Kingdom, the Water Realm. Sorry, I get all the planet names mixed up. And I work the planets in order, but I don't work the planet within the planet in order. I always bounce around. I usually leave the overview pages till last. But I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I really want to do this in ink. I love working in Liquitex acrylic ink. So I'm going to pull out the inks for this. And so that's what I did. I love how watery I can make Liquitex acrylic inks look. I love the effect of the water. And that's what we did here. So I went in and I prepped both this page, the previous page, and the next page with Liquitex clear acrylic gesso. 2 coats on each page. So they're all been prepped with the ink. And then in here I started working. Now, there is a tutorial on my channel about how I do the ink backgrounds to create this watery sort of effect. And it's super, super fun. It's super quick. And I love it every time I do it. And then I used the same inks to also shade absolutely everything on the page. I also added in some Reno Art glitter gel paint that I have. It's just a very cheap glitter paint, but it added a beautiful shimmer to the top of the water. And then I went in with my white to like really amplify that water top. For the spaceship itself, I also pulled out just a grey pencil, just like a grey sketch pencil. I didn't want to pull out like my Prismacolor or Polychromos or anything and colour on this gessoed paper with the pencil because the texture is so rough it chews up the pencil. So I just pulled out a grey sketch pencil and used that to reshade in the ship. I did put on some white Liquitex acrylic ink to white out the ship because the Galactic Glitter Path is white but a shiny white reflective surface, so it picks up the colours of whatever it's around. And then of course I use the Reeves iridescent medium because the ship is flying, which means it gets the zoomies shine. So yeah, I did that spread and I absolutely loved it, and it just came together so quickly. I was like, oh, water. I love water. And then because I was so inspired, I decided to do the next spread. So I also did this double page spread. Now this is technically 2 images, but I treated it like it was a double page spread and did it at the same time because it is the same ship on both pages. It's just a zoomed in, zoomed out version, which is another reason why I love this book so much, is the sense of perspective you get when you discover that creatures are repeated throughout the book and you're just getting zoom ins and zoom outs of it. So I used again the gesso, the clear Liquitex clear gesso to protect and base the page. Liquitex clear acrylic, not clear, oh my gosh, so much Liquitex acrylic inks to paint the page. The Reno Art glitter to add the glitter to the background. I did pile it up a little intently on the black here, so that's okay. It just kind of looks like mist. And I don't think I used anything else on here. Yeah, no, that was it. Just the inks, the glitter, and the gesso to prep. And I really, really love how this came together. I love the movement and the splatter that I got in here. And I just love the dimension that we got in here as well. And I actually filmed myself doing this whole spread. So that is almost finished editing, and I've just got to record a voiceover for it. So that will be coming out hopefully very soon. But there will be a full process of these 2 pages, and as well as showing again a little bit of the background technique that I use to get this splotchy water background effect. I also explain about how I shade with the inks and how to basically finish off the page, because with the gesso the texture of the page is so rough. You can't really go in here with pencils unless you're prepared to lose a lot of pencil. You get pencil dust everywhere. It's not the greatest to work on with pencils. You can come in with like markers, but again the paper is roughened by the gesso, so you're going to destroy your tip. So for me the best thing to do is to actually paint in the details with the ink. So yeah, I absolutely love how both pages turned out. I love the water realm. And now basically all I have left to do in the water realm is the arrival. So I will pull out the inks again to colour in all the areas around, and then black out the background with some acrylic paint. And then the entire water realm is done. And yeah, apart from going in and just touching up the bubbles on this one, then we'll be up to this futuristic kingdom here, which I have plans for this one too. But I'm excited. I'm really making my way through this book as well. It's really clicking with me. So yeah, so that is Alien Worlds by Kirby Rosans, and 2 double page spreads done in here. Mythographic Mythical Beast. This is by Rewonka Kalinska. I hope I've pronounced that right. Now this one was an unworked book. I was meant to buddy in here last month with Candace from Happy Catastrophe, but again September was a write-off. So when it came to October, I had a look through, and I did look at the one that I was meant to buddy with Candace on, which was like a space octopus, this one here. And Candace's page was gorgeous for it. She did a fantastic job. And I thought about doing it, but again, I wasn't pressuring myself to be like, you have to complete the buddies or anything like that. It was just a case of whatever I felt like colouring was what I coloured. And then I saw this spider page, and I was like, she's actually really pretty. And with it being the month of October and Halloween, I was like, actually, this is kind of cool for Halloween. And I saw her immediately doing a black and red spider with the white hair. like, you know what? We're going to do this one. This one looks really, really fun. And I did have a lot of fun working in this one. So for this page, I used Inktense to color all the flowers and all the spiders and stuff like that. It was all based with Inktense. And then I went over that with Pablo's, Caran d'Ache Pablo's, to shade all the flowers and the spiders. I used a bit of Stickles glitter glue for the back of the spider and the markings on her face, because I have to. I have to. And then I used a Posca pen to outline the hair to make the white of the hair really pop. I used a black glitter gel pen for all the little spiders, because I was like, they should be sparkly too. That's kind of cool. And I used a gold gel pen for the center of the flowers, and just to put some gold dots around and just little touches of gold. And then for the background, I actually used my Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors and created this real watery background. And then I dropped big pieces of flaky salt on the background and let that dry with the salt there, which is how we get this sort of speckled background. Now, I do wish I had done the background with more pigment and more color, so especially so the hair would pop a bit more. So if I was to do this again, I would use more pigment in the background, but I do really like the effect of it, and I really like the overall page. It was very simple. It's a very simple color palette, but it just works. And it got my first page done in Mythical Beast, because this was a previously untouched book. Yeah, there's my little Spider Queen. Love all the glitter. This is, I think, sorbet in the stickles. It's got a red and purple reflect. I just thought it was a really pretty tonal match to what was going on the page. That was Mythographic Mythical Beast by Raronka Kalinska. And then I also did a page in Mythographic Wild Summer, another untouched mythographic. This means all my mythographics have now been worked in, which is awesome. And oh my gosh, this one, especially with us heading into summer, I can see me doing a lot in here. It's just so pretty. So gorgeous. So many gorgeous pages. I had in September marked out, there's like a panda page. Where it's a panda and this one. The panda and the watermelon, and I had marked out to do this page because I could see the colors of this one pretty straightforward. Like, I've seen this one done a few times now, and you can't really do too much with the colors because the panda's black and white. You've got the red and the green of the watermelon. So it's just what colors do you do the water, what color do you do the background to make it a bit different. So yeah, I just decided I wasn't as inspired by that one at that time because I'd just seen this one done a bunch. And then I found the jellyfish page. And I was like, we're doing the jellyfish page because jellyfish are amongst my favorite sea creatures. I freaking love them. They're absolutely mesmerizing. And I really love just everything about them and how ethereal they are. And so at the time, my hands were really not cooperating and I didn't want to work with pencils. So I did this whole page with water-based markers. So like Crayola Super Tips, various brush markers, just any sort of water-based medium, any water-based marker. And it's something that I really love doing. I love just working with essentially what we call felt tips here in New Zealand, just markers. And it really helps when my hands aren't going very well because I can still get in there and you can still do a lot of shading and stuff with the markers. And I really do like how this came together. Now this would look a lot more effective if I did go around and finish off the border. The border's not helping. It needs the clean edge. However, I just didn't have the capability. Last night I was going to sit down and paint a bunch of borders while I was finishing off another page, but it got to 2 a.m. and I had to get up at 6 a.m. this morning for a hospital appointment. So yeah, we didn't quite get in here to black out this border, but I will eventually block out the border, and that's going to make it pop even more because the overspill isn't helping. So yes, this entire thing was done with water-soluble markers and set for the light rays, where I used Posca to cover the very thick black line that was originally drawn in here to indicate the light rays, which I wish they wouldn't do. It annoys me so much. So I had to use Posca to block out those big solid lines. And then I used a white acrylic paint. Now I spent a while testing different medium that I could lay on top, because using water-based markers, anything that I used on top that was water-based was going to activate the colors. And you can see down here by my little smudginess that this has activated the color a little bit. However, the acrylic paint was the most minimal of the activations, this particular white. So I decided to risk it. And it's got a little bit of smudging, but I don't mind it because it's like it's got that sort of light film that is blocking your vision through. Like, you can see the difference in it. This white paint is a terrible cheap white paint, and it's practically translucent, but it happened to work perfectly for this page. I can't even remember the brand name of it. It's just a very cheap white paint. Yeah, that is my page in Mythographic Wild Summer by Joseph Cadenbang. Again, it was a previously untouched book as well. The Time Garden by Daria Song, a previously unworked book. This was me finishing off a whip from September that I had started for Space Timber, as you can tell by the massive galaxy. And this one I was also recording and is up on the channel as a tutorial on how to paint a galaxy in acrylic paints in your coloring book, because originally this page was quite similar to, well, it had this background, this star background, but that was all that was there. Yeah, I might be able to show you at the back here because there's a page overview. Not that page, but it's very similar to that one. There it is there, underneath the stars. So it's just a lot of like stars that are interconnected. I think I ended up calling it a sky full of stars. That page was previously done by the previous owner of this book. So similar to this one, where it's just piles of stars drawn on and then one little figure, was what was on this page. And I didn't want to colour in all those stars. That just looked really boring to me. So I took the opportunity to paint this galaxy. And I am mostly happy with the result. I talk about it in the video, but I added too much of the Mod Podge Extreme Glitter with too much texture over on this side. It's a little bit over here too, but I thought it'd be really cool to kind of stipple on the Mod Podge to give that texture to reflect the texture of the galaxy or nebula. But unfortunately, it piled up the glitter in some areas and it hasn't dried clear. So it does kind of work as more of this white filtering on, but it is a real disappointment. If I had done just my regular thin coat, this would have popped so much more, because you would have had this big area of black and then this area of color in the middle. So one little mistake in this page, but overall I'm still very happy with the result. I love how the nebula turned out. It was so fun to pull out my paints for this page, and really made me want to play more with my acrylic paints. Also made me discover that most of my acrylic paints were really terribly bad. So I did buy some more paints recently to replace a bunch of 10+ year old acrylic paints. They're just gone sticky and awful and not usable. So yes, acrylic paint for the majority of this, plus Mod Podge Extreme Glitter for the top, and then a little bit of Prisma for the character on the side here. Just a tiny little bit, just for our little figure. Really love how this came together. Relatively simple. Would have been amazing to have it up for Space Timber, but hey, it's there for future. And who says you can't paint a galaxy at any time of the year, you know? That is Daria Song, The Time Garden. Also available as a video on the channel. I'll try to remember to link videos down below or like in the top bar. I did one in Cute and Creepy by Camilla Di Erico. It's been a while since I've worked in this book. This used to be my go-to book while studying because the illustrations were really quick and simple. And so when I was in the final semester of my bachelor's degree, I would like spend 6 hours writing an essay, and then I'd take an hour break and I could knock out one of these pages and then go back to continuing on with the essay writing. So this became quite a good book for that time. It's been a while since I've pulled it out because of course I'm graduated now. And so with it being the Halloween season, I was like, I'm going to look in here for something that's a bit Halloween-esque but simple and cute. And I found this little ghosty. And I was like, oh, he's so cute. All right, let's work with him. So I used a Reeves water-soluble pastels in the background, and I really was not happy with how they worked in the background. I ended up getting rid of them because they just did not work to my liking. And then I pulled out Dilution's shimmer spray. I went a little heavy on the red around here by accident, so whoops, but it's okay, it's still cute. And then I used, I think I just used the Reeves Iridescent Medium on top of the ghost, and like one black polychromos to shade in the eyes and a little bit of Posca to bring in the highlights. Like, it was very quick, very simple, just slapped in a color background, shimmer spray on top, ghost first, then the shimmer spray, just some details in the eyes. Like, really quick, really easy, but just very simple and fun. It's very shiny, and yeah, just a really fun, simple page. Sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you just need a bit of a break. And as I said, October, the month was just around whatever I wanted to colour, and I wanted to colour one in Cute and Creepy. Mythomorphia. Yes, I did another Kirby. And yes, it's another double. I almost did not get to this month. I literally started this on the 31st of October, and I was like, am I going to have this carryover as a whip to November? But I did end up finishing it. I technically finished it on the 1st at 2 a.m. in the morning. However, I hadn't gone to bed yet, so I counted it as being completed in October. You know, it was still like I've been working on it all night, and then it was suddenly 2 a.m. and I was like, yeah, no, we're going to count this in October's pages. So I was meant to be working on the goblin spread in here with Cindy of Mindful Grip. We are helping each other to try and get through as much of Mythomorphia as we can before Kirby's new book comes out next year. I have 15 spreads remaining. That's either single or double pages, but there are 15 images left to colour, and then this whole book is done. Like, I am so close to finishing this book. It's quite crazy to think about. So I was meant to do this goblin page in September, and I just hadn't had the inspiration of how to tackle it. And I'd actually been talking with Cindy, and we had joked about a concept that Cindy actually went for, which was like space goblins. And I loved how her page was coming out, but I didn't want to do space goblins because I was like, Cindy's doing space goblins. And I didn't want to do your traditional green because I was like, oh, that's kind of like, whatever, it's goblins. And I was just like, I don't know what to do here. And so I put it off, and then September went and was chaos, and I didn't get to any. I got to hardly anybody, so I didn't keep to it. And then all of October passed, and Cindy and I don't have any pressure with these buddies. It just happens when it happens. So I didn't message Cindy about it. And then on the 30th, I was lying in bed And I was thinking about the Mythomorphia book, and I was like, oh, I'm not really going to have time to get to that in November because November's all about New Book November. I wish I had done a page in October, but I just don't know what to do with that goblin page. And something in my brain went extreme lighting, purple and yellow. And I just saw it in my head, and I was like, oh my God, that's the page. So I got up on the 31st and I jumped straight into this page and I worked my butt off to get it done. So I pulled out my Inktense. Here's the exact colours that I used in my little tester sheet to make sure that I could blend purple and yellow together to have it work, and I could. And so I worked my butt off to do this extreme lighting of two goblins at night in purple being lit up by a yellow moon. I love how this turned out. Like, I love how it came together for an idea, spur of the moment idea, and then just throwing it down. I love playing with lighting effects, and so I really do feel like this is such a fun page to do lighting effects on. Now, if I had finished this a little bit earlier, I possibly, and I may still go in and do this. There's a couple more things I would do. I would bring over a little bit more of the warm yellow onto this goblin. I coloured this one first, and then I coloured this half. And so my shading changed slightly over the day. And I got a lot more heavy-handed with the yellow on this side. But maybe the moonlight's just a bit more intense on this guy, or maybe he's a bit further back or something. So I would bring a bit more of the warm yellow over. I would also make a black wash to really darken these edges, because when I added in the matte black acrylic paint to the background, the black of these is now lost as its intensity. So I do want to almost darken back here a bit more just to help with that extreme lighting. And then I'm also like, do we need stars? Do we need stars in this night sky to make it clear that this is not like a sun? This is actually a yellow moon. Or maybe it's like an eclipse happening at night or something. I don't know. So those are two things, or three things, that because I didn't have time to sit down and think about this, I'm debating. But I'm also really happy to just call this done as is, because it was just so fun. So much what I love playing with in terms of extreme lighting. And I'm so glad that I got this page done, and it's so much better than me just colouring the goblins as is. Like, I feel like there's now a story here. It's two goblins going to battle at night by the light of the moonlight. Like, I love it. So, and it's just so fun to do purple to yellow. Very simple, effectively, because it made it very monochromatic, but then we've got this extreme lighting in the centre. So yeah, that is my page in Kirby Rosearne's Mythomorphia, and what has brought us down to 15 remaining spreads. This book is not on the plans for November because it is not a new book, but also we all know I get swayed easily, so maybe it'll come out. I can see the light at the end of this book. Just took a quick break and also got a throat lozenge because my throat's starting to hurt with all the talking, which usually happens during completed pages. Now, in the month of September, I fell into the cozy, comfy, cute colouring book craze. I ended up getting 4 of them in an Amazon purchase, and 3 of them have been flipped on the channel. Shadow's hair is stuck on my nail. Ugh. Cat hair everywhere, I swear. He's molting. We're getting to summer, so he's losing his winter coat and molting everywhere at the moment. Anyway, I got a bunch of cozy cute colouring books. I've added a bunch to my wish list because honestly, I fell into the rabbit hole of these books, and they are so cute, so fun, and it's like cute animals doing people things, which is some of my favourite things to colour. I just think they're so adorable, and I've seen people work these pages super low key and just colouring in with the markers. I've seen the full on shading. I've seen lots of patterns. Like, you can do a lot with these books. You can just go in and flat colour with markers and they look gorgeous. You can go in and go full hard out with shading. You can do whatever you want and they just look gorgeous, and they're just cute and brainless and fun. So the first one I have to show you is in Coco Wyo's Cozy Friends Cute and Comfy Colouring Book. This is actually my first Coco Wyo book as well. I don't want to get some more Coco Wyo. But I did this very Halloween spread here. And I just had so much fun colouring this one. So I used alcohol markers to base everything. Fairly certain. Yep, alcohol markers to base everything. And then I actually pulled out my Crayola coloured pencils. I haven't used them in a while, but for some reason I just really wanted to work with them. I felt like that their hardness, but also the less intensity of the pigment would kind of work for the subtle shading that I wanted to do. And it did for the most part, except for where I wanted the glow of the different elements to go. So I also pulled out Poscas so that I could do like this pink glow effect on from the cauldron, and then a little bit of glow effect from the fire, though that one's not as effective down here. But yeah, I really, really love how it came together. And then some Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, because sparkles, because they're making magic, so I had to give them glitter. That's how it works, right? But yeah, that was my first one in this book, and I just really loved it, and I just want to do so many more in here. I could spend a whole month just colouring in this book. And then I also did a page in, I've been calling it Fuzzy Hug. I think the Hug or Hyg, or I don't know. I call it Hug. I just think Fuzzy Hug is a cute name, so I just call it Fuzzy Hug. This is Fuzzy Hug, super cute colouring book, and this is by VV Tinter. And I did the Artist Bunny page. I adored this page when I saw it, and I was like, yes, I have to colour the Artist Bunny. Now, originally, I think this was meant to be an Easter page because the bunny was like painting an Easter egg on the picture frame, but I actually blocked that out and used acrylic paint to colour over it so it looks like the bunny is creating its own masterpiece. So I based everything with alcohol markers again, including the background, and I used this really deep dark teal colour, but I did not like how dark it made the room look. So I ended up going over the background with acrylic paint as well. And then, what did I use for pencils? I used my Prismas to add some shading onto everything, just to give some shading as you do. And then I also used my Poscas to go around all the outlines because I thought it'd be fun to try a lineless style. I mean, it's still got outlines, but like the outlines not being black. I just really wanted to avoid the black except for in the eyes of the bunny. And I think like it worked well for most things. Some things the colour's not the best match, and that's just because I don't have enough of a colour range, because I only, in the fine tips that I needed, only had Poscas to work with. And then, of course, Mod Podge Extreme Glitter for our bunny, because the idea of a blue artist bunny covered in glitter just really appealed to me. And once again, this is another one that I was planning to go around the outside and paint out this frame, which would clean it up and make it pop even more, especially with no other black on the page. But we did not get to that in time. But I'll get that done eventually. But it'll look a lot better once this background is blacked out as well, this frame. It'll just frame everything up and clean up these edges just a little bit. But yeah, I'm very happy with how this one turned out. Oh, and then I did use as well a little bit of a iridescent top coat paint that I got from Kmart, and then some like metallic brush markers that I also got in recently. So, and I think I also put the top paint on like the little pins in the center of the flower. I just got in a bunch of stuff from Kmart, so I was just kind of playing around with some of the stuff on here as well. So that is Fuzzy Hug by VV Tinter. And then I have Fuzzy Friends by VV Tinter. Another super cute colouring book. And yes, also very, very cute. This one The BB Tinter ones have slightly thinner lines than the Cocoa Wire one, so I quite like that. I think I prefer that over the Cocoa Wire one, but they're all so cute, honestly. Any of the Comfy Cozy books, I think I'd be happy with. Yeah, there's so many on my wish list to buy. I just, so many. They're so cute. But I did this Halloween page, so I did do some Halloween colouring. Again, I wanted to do a little bit because it was the month of October, but I wasn't making myself go hard out on Halloween colouring. It was still about what interested me for colouring, and I really was wanting to colour this one because I saw the light effects of it and I was like, I can work with that. Because again, I love lighting effects. So I really wanted to have like them slightly glowing with a purple backlit moon, and then have some yellow glow from the windows, and also the pumpkins have a bit. So you'll be able to see there is just like a little subtle purple highlight on all the characters from this purple glowing moon, and then a more intense highlight around the windows because that's a direct highlight from the windows. So lots and lots of fun. Again, everything was based in alcohol markers. I don't have Ohuhus, or I have a couple of Copics, but not many. My alcohol marker bin is literally a mixture of various alcohol markers from various places, lots of cheap ones. So yeah, I don't name my alcohol markers because it's just various alcohol markers. It's whatever color works. And then so yeah, alcohol markers, and then Prismas again on top for shading and adding in all the details, plus Posca to help with the highlighting, the glow effects, and also having to go over the cat's eyes because I made the cat black, because of course I did. And then a little bit of Mod Podge Extreme Glitter on the moon, because I love adding glitter. So sparkly. So yeah, I really love how this page turned out. It's just so cute. I love the friends all dressed up and going trick-or-treating. Again, could do so many in this book. So many. So cute. Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hannah Carlson. Now this one was, again, meant to be a buddy in September with the wonderful Perfection Cider. We had organised to do this unicorn page, but of course September was a write-off. And I have not started it. I did think about starting it for October, but I decided no, we're just gonna not worry about that buddy colour. I'll get back to it eventually. But I didn't have an idea in mind. I wasn't really sure where to start, and I just didn't want to deal with all the flowers and leaves. I just wanted to do something simple in here. I did want to colour in this book because it's absolutely gorgeous, and it was a new book in, but I knew I wanted to do something a little bit more on the simple side. And so I went for this fairy dust page. I was like, oh, this one's really cute. Again, quite simple, but it filled my need of wanting to colour in here while also not being a heavily detailed page. So I used Inktense in the background, which I watered out quite a bit to give this watercolour effect. And then I used Pablo pencils to colour in all the details, and a lot of Posca to do highlighting. And then for the jar itself, I used the Reeves Iridescent Medium on the purple areas of the glass, so that's why it's got that iridescence. And Mod Podge Extreme Glitter on the actual contents of the jar. So I did the extreme glitter first, and then I went over it with the iridescent medium, so it was like the contents were glittery, but they were also behind glass. And I really like how that turned out. And I do want to take this same palette and colour in this side with the same, like, make it look like it's matching, like it's her little jar of fairy dust. So that's my plan to do eventually. But for now, that was my first page done in Tales from the Forest Kingdom. This is my only newer Hannah Carlson. I only have 2 other Hannah Carlson books as well, which is Summer Nights and Daydreams. So This was my first one of her newer style. I think I want to get some more of her newer style ones because I really like the illustrations in here. Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Leidenhull Oberg. I hope I've pronounced that right. This book is gorgeous. Like, I have heard people saying the paper is fantastic in here. The paper is fantastic in here. More colouring book manufacturers need to look at this book and take inspiration from it, because for the price you pay for this huge book with fantastic paper, hardcover, foiled, more books need to be like this. This is stunning. And if Emily produces her other book, reprints it, which given the popularity of the Fairy Tales and Folklore's reprint, it's a possibility. I reckon that's going to be in the future. But yeah, if she reproduces it, I'm going to grab her other book too, just because the paper is everything. So, I did my very first page in here, which was this princessy realty. I know, I saw this page and I was like, yes, this is where I want to start. I just love the way she was framed. I'm not a big fan of colouring flowers, but I love the way the flowers lined up in here. And I love the little bird. So I was like, yep, we're going to do this. And so because I'd heard the paper was fantastic, I was like, you know what? We're going to try water-soluble markers in here. So I started colouring the flowers and then applying water to the page to move the ink around. Did not bleed through. I was like, okay, if you can handle that, maybe you can handle me mixing and creating a watercolor background directly on the page. This uses a lot more water. Did not bleed through. I was gobsmacked. I used so much water on this. Every other book that I would have done this on, it would have bled through. And it did not bleed through. I was just like, that sealed it for me. I was like, this paper is amazing, and I'm so excited because this book is going to handle so much media, knowing that how it handled the water from that. So yes, I used water soluble markers, and then I also used Pablo's a mixture of Pablo's and Prismas. Sorry, I'm still a little under the weather, so I'm still coughing a lot. Mixture of Pablo's and Prismas to colour in the figure, and Poscas and metallic gel pens to, or was it just metallic gel pen? No, I did use Posca to do all the lace detail, and then metallic gel pen to do all the gold detail and also colour in the crown. And then I did pull out stickles in a couple of different colours to add to her dress, her lips, her eyeshadow, and in the crown itself. I just wanted something like really ridiculously over the top, shiny and sparkly. And yeah, I love how it turned out. I'm really pleased with the lace as well, because I used the Posca to go over the outline, but then I used the Posca, also add in some little dots in each of the outlines made. And I feel like it did really give it like a lace effect. So I really like how that came together. And then, because I had enjoyed this page so much, I decided I wanted to do another one. And I remembered that Doodle Robot had a buddy group for this book where every 2 months they would choose a page from this book and work in it. And so this happened to be the page for this month. And so I messaged Doodle Robot and asked to join the group so that I could partake. Now let's see if we can get just how sparkly this dragon is, because I'm seeing a little bit. So I used Mod Podge Extreme Glitter not only just on the background but on the dragon itself. So she is very sparkly. Now the colours here look very pale, and that is because the first thing I did with colouring this dragon was I used a pencil that has 4-in-1 colours in it. So it's what my nibblings call magic pencils because they change colour. Because they've got 4 sections of lead in one pencil. And I just thought it'd be really fun to just colour in the whole dragon with this one pencil and just let the colours be whatever the colours are going to be. And so that is why my dragon is multicoloured. But the one magic pencil that I have, unfortunately, is not the world's most pigmented pencil. So I loved the colours of how the dragon turned out, but it just was not vibrant. So I didn't want to pull out Prismacolor, Posca, not Posca, Polychromos, Pablos, any of my artist quality pencils, because I knew that whatever pencils I pulled out, they would make the dragon look incredibly pale, and I didn't want that. I wanted to tie it all together. So again, I pulled out the Crayola coloured pencils, and I just coloured the house and the mountain with those. So it is very pale, but I think it still works. And then I used black acrylic paint on the background, added in the Mod Podge Extreme Glitter to both the dragon and a bunch of the background, and used metallic gel pens to colour in the stars and the little dots up the top here. Yeah, that was super, super fun, and got a second page done in Fairy Tales and Folklore. So, the next one, this is not technically a book, but I'm calling it a book on my shelf. A while ago, I joined Lana Green's Patreon just for a month because her image that she had released for that month really captured me. And I was like, I really want to colour that. But rather than buy it on her Etsy store, I realised joining her Patreon for 1 month was going to be cheaper. And so I was like, cool, I'll pay the $2, I think it was, to join the lowest tier to get access to this page. It wasn't this page. I can't remember exactly what page it was. But when I joined, I realized not only was this month's page available, but the previous 6 months worth of pages were available, and you got 2 pages per month. So I ended up with 12 images. So incredibly good deal. I don't know if that was an accident or that's how Lana operates her Patreon. I am going to wait a couple more months and then I'll probably join again. Even if I just get the 1 or 2 images of the month, it's still worthwhile because it's only a couple of bucks. If I get more images, bonus. But I had all these gorgeous, gorgeous images. This is a really old clear file, by the way. It was just the one I had lying around, so it's a bit hammered, but it works. Might have been that one that was the month image. I cannot remember, but I do love that one. But yeah, she had all these gorgeous images, and so I got them. I've had them sitting on my computer. It's not often that I do a PDF image because I'm so focused on my books that I forget about PDF individual images. And so I was looking at my PDF books because there was one I knew I wanted to print for in preparation for December. And I saw the Lana Green images. I was like, well, there's 12 of them. So why don't I put it into a book and just call it like Lana Green, like just call it Lana Green or something, and essentially make my own book from her PDF images. And that way, if I get any more of her PDFs, I can just add it to the PDF book. And then my brain kind of clicked and went, that's a really good idea, because that means I can do the same thing with Mariola Boutique or any artist where I'm more likely to get a bunch of individual images rather than a whole book. So yeah, I created this Lana Green book and then printed it out and did my first page on it. It's also possible that this was the Patreon image of the month because this is very much my cup of tea. And yeah, I love how this turned out. Now, the paper is incredibly wrinkly and I probably need to iron it, but it will get flattened a bit on the shelf as well. And so I used my Liquitex acrylic inks to colour this whole thing. I also used some Kaisercraft shimmer spray in the gold to add all that gold splatter about. I used a tiny bit of Posca just to add in some white highlights and like the little bubbles and her eyes and stuff. And then I used my glossy highlights. What's it called? what's it called? Glossy accents, that's the word. I used glossy accents to go over her lips and her eyes just to make them like really shiny and really have the light reflecting in it. So yeah, it was a really simple page, but I really wanted to just play around with the inks and watercolors and just create this watercolory effect. And I love how it turned out. Very simple, but very fun. Very wrinkly, but I don't mind that. And so that meant that I worked a page in this book, which again, terrible old cheap clear file, but it does the job. Right, now we have a bunch of Colouring Heaven. So I did one in the Cabbage Patch Kids collection. There was this super cute page, which is an Easter page, but who says you have to colour Easter at Easter? I just like the bunny. And I have a specific set of Tombos. It's the Tropical Colour Palette. These are the only Tombos that I own. And I love working with water-soluble brush markers. So I was like, I'm going to just play with them and see how they operate. I don't know what it is about them, but I get way less streaky colouring when I work with Crayola Super Tips than I do with the Tombos. I don't know if I need to just keep playing some more with the Tombos and just get more familiar with them, but yeah, I feel like I get better coverage more evenly when I work with Super Tips than I did with the Tombos. But it was still really fun to play with. It's a limited colour palette because of that set. So it was literally the colours in the set was the colours that I had. So I made it work. I did add in a tiny bit of bright green for her eyes. No, it is that green. I just laid it up a couple times. My apologies. So again, that's a different green. But no, it's just that one laid up quite a few times. And then I did pull out a white Posca just to do a bunch of highlights around. Very simple, but it was fun. Still definitely not my favorite of the month, and that's mostly because I'm still trying to figure out how to use these Tombos. I know everyone loves them, but I'd rather just use my Super Tips. And the Super Tips are much cheaper, so hey, bonus. But that is the Cabbage Patch Kids Colouring Heaven collection. I did one in the Wildwood Witches special. This has got designs by Steve Hutton. And I did Rebecca Parsley. It says here, Rebecca Parsley of Wildwood Coven, wearing the colours of seasonal flower forth. Rebecca is granted an audience with the dragon toad, a mediator between earth and ruination. Moss-covered fairies have gathered to witness the event. So I looked at this page and I felt the autumnal vibes. I felt the witch, and I was like, this is Halloween, this is autumnal, even though Halloween is in spring here because I'm in the southern hemisphere, so we're moving into spring. I just got really autumnal vibes from this page. And I really wanted to play with my my Derwent ink tints. Just about called them distress inks again. I always mix those two up for some reason. So this entire page was done with the Inktense pencils. No shading on top. It is all shaded with Inktense. And then I did pull out some iridescent mediums to colour in the little fae and the little ball that she's holding. So they've got like a little bit of a shimmer, shine reflect, and I used a gold gel pen to do some of the details around. And I'm really happy with it. Like, I could have done smoother, cleaner blending, but I felt like the sketchiness of the line work just really suited a sketchy, watery, Inktense vibe. Like, I really like it, and I had a lot of fun doing this page. That is Wildwood Witches Special by Steve Hutton. And then the final Colouring Heaven magazine that I worked in is Winglings Special by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. This is the first time I've actually coloured one of her pages. And I did Birdling's Sign of Our Parting. This one just felt very Halloween to me. And I was like, I really want to try colouring in her style. So I did. Again, this is another one where blacking out the frame would probably make it pop a lot more. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, I had a lot of fun colouring this. I'm not 100% happy with the palette, and I think it's the green on these socks. I probably should have just done black and just left the tealy green of the grass down here. But I really do like the red. And I possibly should have done grey for the wings. I think if I had done grey for the wings and changed that to black, it would have limited that colour palette a heck of a lot more. And it would be even more effective. But we did it, lessons learned. And I love the red. I just really wanted to do lots of red. So I used alcohol markers to base this entire page. And then my Pablo coloured pencils to do all the shading. A little bit of Posca to outline the candle and shinies on her eyes. And then Mod Podge Extreme Glitter for the background. And then also on her little necklace there. So it's also sparkly. And it kind of makes the birds that are hidden in the background a little bit more subtle as well, which I really like. So yeah, that is my page in Winglings Special, produced by Colouring Heaven, with designs by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. I went on an absolute Teresa Goodridge kick this month and ended up colouring in a bunch of my unworked Teresa Goodridge books. So I worked in Autumn Harvest, Autumn Scenes, Country Kitchen Charm, and Wish You Were Here. Yeah, I really went on a Teresa Goodridge kick. So we'll start with Wish You Were Here. This one was a whip from September. It was originally a buddy with Emily of E Art Studios. And then again, September went to chaos. And so I never got the page completed. Emily also, unfortunately, did not get their page completed and will not be able to complete it as well. And that is absolutely fine. Life happens. And I'm still absolutely grateful for the buddy because it meant that I got a page started in here. And so when it came to October, I really wanted to get it finished because it was very close to being done in September. So I used alcohol markers to base the entire page again. And then I used my Polychromos pencils to shade in all the details. I used Posca to cover up the lines on the water, the lines on the clouds, and add some like highlights to windows, the flowers, just lots of little highlighting details. And then I used the Reeves Iridescent Medium to add to the water. I thought about doing the glitter, but I thought it would be fun to try the Iridescent Medium on the water. And I do actually really like it for the water. It just gives it that sort of pearlized shine of beautiful water on a sunny day. And yeah, I just really love how this one turned out. It's really nice to get this one finished. Again, it's another one that would really benefit from me framing it up. A lot of my pages, I consider them completed even if I haven't blacked out the borders, but I love the look of blacked out borders. But that's the sort of thing I can do at any point. And if I ever finish a book and there's just the borders left to do, I'll just have a border painting day. So that is Wish You Were Here by Teresa Goodridge, produced by Creative Haven. And then the next one is Country Kitchen Charm. And this one is another video on the channel. And this is also another water-based markers page. I was having a lot of fun playing with the water-based markers this month. My hands really weren't liking a lot of pencil shading, so I just used markers a lot. And so this one uses a mixture of Crayola Super Tips, some Unity brush markers, fine liners. I did use a little bit of white pencil to just shade in around the windows, and a bit of Posca as well to add in some sharp highlights. And a metallic gold gel pen, or a gold Posca. Might have been a gold Posca. The little detail in the pot plant. And of course, a little bit of Posca for the pattern on the curtains. And I just love how this one turned out. It is so bright and so colourful. I kind of want this in my kitchen. I can't grow things, but I would love to have a kitchen garden full of herbs, because herbs are delicious on food. So yeah, very, very happy with how this one turned out in Country Kitchen Charm by Teresa Goodridge. The third Teresa Goodridge is Autumn Scenes. Now, of course, as I said, I'm in the Southern Hemisphere, so we're moving into spring. But all I see is autumn colouring. I see Halloween colouring and autumn colouring, and it makes me want to colour autumn even though we're in spring. This is why I can't be a seasonal colourist, because the seasons don't line up with half of the world. So I pulled out my 2 autumn books. However, in Autumn Scenes, I found this Halloween page, and I was like, oh, hang on, we're going to get this Halloween page done. So again, this is done in the water-soluble markers. And this one was actually done in mind for the Teresa Goodridge coloring group on Facebook, because every month they put out a challenge, and this month's challenge was anything but orange, so to color pumpkins in a colorway that wasn't orange. And so I thought it'd be really fun to do pink pumpkins and play with pinks and purples and blues. I wish I'd done the cat black. That is my only regret. The cat should be black, but I did it yellow to tie in all of these. But no, I should have done the cat black. But other than that, really, really happy. This was done at a hospital appointment, or started at a hospital appointment and then finished off later on. But really love how this came together. And again, all water-soluble brush markers and Crayola Super Tips. You can do a lot with them. That's Autumn Scenes by Teresa Goodridge. And then the final Teresa Goodridge is Autumn Harvest. And this is where I did my autumn page. And once again, water-soluble brush markers. So yeah, mixture of Crayola Super Tips and the Unity brush markers and just whatever water-based markers I had around me. There is a little bit of Posca for highlighting, and I think I used the gold Posca to do the words up there. And yeah, I just went autumnal colour overload. This was like me getting in the autumn colouring. So yeah, I really do like how it turned out. And again, when my hands are sore, it's such a good technique for allowing me still to colour without having to worry about holding pencils and how pencils hurt my hands. So yeah, really love how this came together, getting the different textures of the metal and the stone and the pumpkins and all the blankets and all the fun stuff. That is Autumn Harvest by Teresa Goodridge, and all 4 of those Teresa Goodridge books had previously been unworked as well, so bonus! Shadow's back! Just let me finish filming this and then you can have all the bats. The next page that I completed was in Alice's Nightmare in Wonderland. Now, this page isn't one of the spooky pages. There are some quite spooky, gory pages in here. However, this one is quite safe because I did the little drink me and eat me cupcake potion and the key. And this is just because I wanted to play around with alcohol markers and just have like a quick break page. And so I had a quick look through this book because I thought with it being Halloween, the spooky pages might call out to me, but I don't know, this one just appealed to me. It was simple, quick, all the shading's just done with alcohol markers. Like, there's not a lot to it. This paper is very, very thin, but it still worked perfectly fine for alcohol markers. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it just as a quick break page. Because there's so much extreme shading already there in the page, it didn't take a lot to do it. Sometimes you just need a quick, simple page, and that's what this was. So this is Alice's Nightmare in Wonderland. It is by Jonathan Green, illustrations by Kev Crossley. And then, speaking of the spooky pages, Dark Art Nightmare. So again, this book does have some of the more spooky, horror, gory type pages. However, the page I'm going to show you is a little spooky, but there's no gore, nothing like that. Because I did purchase this book this month. I really like Francis Goitier's style. He's got quite a detailed style, but I find it really fun to colour, and his use of perspective is really interesting. And so I was flicking through to try and find a page to colour this month, and I saw this page with the monster coming out of the closet, but it's also an alien. So this would have been a perfect Space Timber page, but I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And so, and I just thought it was funny because he's got like this little drawing of an alien down here, and he's been reading about this alien in this book. So it's like he's read about this alien, drawn the alien, and then it's come through to say hi. My mind, it's a friend who's just freaked him out a little bit. But yeah, I had a lot of fun coloring this page. Again, the entire thing is done with water-based markers, in particular the Staedtler double-tipped markers that I got this month. They're right beside me in my bag because I had to take my mum to a hospital appointment this morning, so I took them with me to colour something else in. These ones here, double-ended fibre-tipped pens. So the chunky end of these operates a lot like a super tip. They felt very similar to a super tip to me, but the difference is that as well as the chunky end that is quite like a super tip, there's also a very fine tip end. So they're about twice the price of a super tip, but you're technically getting two pens because you get the chunky and the fine. And they actually come in a set of 120 colours. So I might look at getting the full range because I do really enjoy these. I did have a little swatch in here. Where did that go? There it is, tucked behind. But the colour range in the 36 is a lot of brights. There's not too many pastels. And the 120 set comes with quite a range of colours. So I think I will... Like, I'll keep using these ones up, but I think I might look at getting the full 120 just to supplement my super tips and just mix the sets together because I don't mind mixing these sets and use them together. Yeah, that's my little review on the fine liners. So yeah, a whole page is just those pens. There is no Posca, there is no glitter, all just the Staedtler double-tipped fibre pens. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I probably could go in there, like the red needs more saturation. Like it's very flat, even though there's a lot of tones in here, there's not a lot of hues. I think that's the right way around. Like if I was to grayscale this, a lot of this would be the same type of grey because it's all on the same bright plane. And so it doesn't have a lot of contrast. It doesn't have a lot of black to the white, except for the black that was pre-printed in there. But that's okay. I don't mind that. I had fun with it. Again, it worked with my hands. It was a kind of last-minute page to throw in, and I could colour it in bed, and I really enjoyed it. I just think it's so funny. So yeah, that is my page in Dark Art Nightmare by Francis Goitier. Now to go to the complete opposite end of the scale, I did a page in Wildflower Folk by Christine Karen. I love this book so much, and I've been avoiding working in here because I have a Colouring Heaven issue, Fledgling Fairies, which is also artwork by Christine Karen, and it is 75% done. So I was originally trying to hold off working in here until I finished the Colouring Heaven issue. But I saw a page in here and I just had to do it. I saw this Cup of Warmth page and I was just like, I really want to play with that. And I was really in a playing with Inktense mood and just seeing what I could do with them. So this is all done in Inktense. I didn't apply the Inktense to the paper. Instead, I was pulling the colour off the pencils with a brush and just applying it softly to the page. And I love how soft and delicate this is. It's just so light, which is very unusual for me. I tend to do a lot of vivid, bright, intense colours. So to go so light with this, but still be very happy with it, it's very different for me. And part of me looks at this and goes, well, you need to do more to it. But no, I'm very happy with it as is. So it was a lot of fun. Again, it was playing with that sort of watercolory light effects that I really wanted to do, and I feel like I achieved that. And I love the little subtle glow of her cheeks and how that ties into her cozy little jumper here, and then bringing in that same red to like the leaves. Just very happy with the overall palette and how it all came together. That is Cup of Warmth by Christine Karen in Wildflower Folk. And honestly, I want this cover as a print. This half-completed Rainbow Fairy with this background, I want this as a print. And then the last book finally I have to show you is Joanna Badsford's 30 Days of Creativity. So this book here is a bit of a project book for me. I am approaching this book with some art journaling techniques, and so I did 2 double page spreads in here this month, and one of these is a video on the channel, and we'll go to that one in a moment, but I'll show you the second one first. Now, there is a page in here where it is just text, and then Joanna has put a little message beside. Joanna does this a couple of times, so do more of what makes you happy. This is an example. There's a few pages like this where you just have the text and a little message from Joanna. And one of them in here said, every child is an artist. And I really liked that page, and I thought it would be really cool if I got my nibblings to colour the page. My nibblings are the nicknames for my nieces and nephews. In particular, 2 of them come around and colour with me. Well, one of them in particular really colours with me. The younger one is starting to colour with me. So for that every child is an artist message, I photocopied that twice so that I would have a copy for each nibbling. And then we sat down at the table and they coloured in. And so you'll see a couple of pink post-it notes, and those are just covering up the nibblings details because I have named and dated these. But yes, this is what they came up with. So this was the younger one, and then this was the older one, and I did also give them some stickers that they could put all over and just let them go to town with whatever they wanted to do. And yeah, so this nibbling is about 2 years old and this nibbling is 4 years old. And I really love the fact that they have a page each in this book, and I have pages in a lot of my colouring books that the nibblings have helped me with. So yeah, I find it really special, and I just thought it would be a beautiful touch to add to this book. Also learnt their oldest nibbling really needs some glitter gel pens because they were absolutely enamored with the glitter gel pens. So yeah, might have to do that for their birthday. And then stickers are always a hit with the nibblings. The nibblings do love their stickers. So yeah. And so obviously the little post-its just cover their details, which I am not showing on the internet, which is why we refer to them as nibblings. But I just think it's really special and I love it. I love it. Very, very special spread in the book. So technically I didn't do anything on this spread except for arrange the photocopies and give them the supplies, but counts as a completed page, you know. But the completed double page spread I did in here was another message page of progress, not perfection. And this is a massive 4.5 hour long video on the channel because it is a full-on real-time process video. I do speed up certain sections, but I filmed the process of this because I wanted to explain art journaling in coloring books because I've had a lot of questions about how I approach this book, but I wanted to show just how changeable the process is, how you can go in with an idea, but the plan will completely change, your vision. It is reactive to what you are doing. So that's what I did with the page and showed the full process of creating this massive double page spread. It is really cool to me because I also had come up with the idea of this puzzle. This is something that I've had for a while, the idea of colouring in a page and then turning it into a puzzle and then putting the incomplete puzzle back into the book. So that's what I got to play with here, with the concept of progress, not perfection, because if you see the puzzle, perfection is perfectly built. Progress is not. Progress is missing several pieces and pieces are coming off to the side. And I just like the symbology of that. And then with the portraiture here, we have some extra pieces that don't match because we as people are in progress. We are not perfect. We are continually growing and learning and building ourselves up like building a puzzle. And when you build a puzzle, it's not about that final image. It's like, yes, you're working towards that goal and it's lovely when it's done. But there's something so special about the building process. And that just all kind of tied into me for this page. I'm really, really happy with how this came out. So the media used on here was a cutout from an artist's book, distress inks, a fine liner, like some glitter paint pens, Posca, there was some inks, like the spray inks, the Kaisercraft shimmer spray and the Dilutions shimmer spray, paint pens to do like some stars as well as some star cutouts from paper and crepe paper, some butterfly journaling assets, washi tape, and a lot of Mod Podge. I think that's everything I used. It was a lot. But yeah, I love how this turned out. Mod Podge, I learned, takes a month to cure. So this has been living open on my shelf for a while, although it does feel like absolutely bone dry, rock hard now. So I'm kind of thinking I might be able to close the book, which is getting really, really chunky now. But yeah, I really love how this spread turned out, and it makes me want to jump in here and do so many more. And I do have an idea for, was around here somewhere, these like a ring of flowers page, but we're going to turn that into a fairy door. This one going to be turned into a fairy door. I wonder if I should do that one first. Think about it. But yeah, that was my 2 pages in Joanna Basford's 30 Days of Creativity. And that was everything I coloured in the month of October. It was a lot. So as I said, 32 pages were finished off. 6 of them were doubles, and I put 2 of them down as buddies. One was the group buddy colour, the Dragon House one. I think I was thinking about the Mythomorphia being a buddy with Cindy, but I don't believe Cindy has finished their version either. Yeah, so I counted the Mythographic Cindy one, but Cindy from my last update has not quite finished theirs. And that's okay. We just kind of work on these buddies as is. I'm getting a lot more into like no time frame buddies. Just like get it done as you get it done. I feel like that's the vibe to go with sometimes. Now, work in progress. Because of September's chaos, I finished September with 10 work in progresses. I did not create any new work in progresses. Yes, we still have the Romantic Country one that I worked in, but it's not a new whip. It already was a whip, and I just progressed on it. And I finished off 3 work in progresses because I finished off the Time Garden by Daria Song, the Autumn Harvest, Autumn page, and the Wish You Were Here, Teresa Goodrich pages. So that left my work in progress list down to 7, which is still under my goal of under 10. So 9 or less work in progress pages. So really, really happy with that. I realized I'm down to 1 2022 work in progress page as well, which is Creatures of the Night. I was really wanting to get this one done in October, but it just didn't come about. It needs pencils. And again, my hands just would not cooperate. I need to do that one in polychromos. I have a specific vision and my hands just would not cooperate for it. So eventually we will get this Creatures of the Night page done and I will film the Mabu tutorial, but unfortunately it was not the month of October and probably won't be the month of November, knowing my plans. So yeah, we're down to 7, which is so good. 1 from 2022, a couple from 2023, and most of them from 2024, I believe. So making progress. As I said, I brought 12 new books, including the Lana Green Portraits PDF book I created. I also unhauled 2 books, which I did in my November plans video. I unhauled Myth World and I moved 1 book out of my collection because it's more of a collector's piece than a colouring book that I colour in. So that brought my book total to 238 colouring books. And I worked in 19 previously unworked books, which, while that wasn't the focus of the month of October, that's still fantastic. That of the, if I take away the 6 from the 32, that becomes 26. So 19 of them were new 26 19 of 26 were new books that hadn't been worked on, so that's really good. And that brings my worked in total of my collection to 178 of 238 books, which is 74.8%. We are 0.2% away from hitting 75% of my collection worked, which is like, oh, if I had finished Romantic Country, I would have been there. But that's okay, because the month of November, if you have not seen, is hashtag New Book November. And I did a random drawer of my unworked books in my collection. There, I will link the video for you. It's a lot of fun. We pull out 21 books that I have previously not worked in. So if I knock off all 21 of these books pulled, and then there's a 22nd one, because I also did end up adding on an additional buddy, because the wonderful Julianne Art brought Dungeon Meister following my flip through, and I messaged immediately and was like, do you want a buddy? Do you want a buddy? Do you want a buddy? Because I haven't seen anyone else with this book and I want to work in it, and it's just something I haven't gotten to yet. So we have a 22nd one that we've added in as well, but that's again a no time frame buddy. We're actually booking that for November to January because it's a very detailed page, so that one's like a long-term buddy. So yeah, anyway, so lots of new books, and if I can get through all these, it's a really good chunk of my collection worked. But hashtag New Book November, or NOV, NOV 24, hashtag for next month. So yeah, super excited to get into November and to make progress on everything we've got going on. I hope you've enjoyed this very long, as per usual, video of all my completed pages for the month of October. Let me know what you liked down below. You know, I love hearing from you guys. Tell me what you enjoyed seeing. If there's something that you have questions about how I did, or you want a tutorial on, let me know, because I'll add it to my list of, I will get to it eventually. Like, there is a list. I take notes. I listen when you guys say that you want stuff. So I do I do try to get there. I can tick off the digital tracker because I did get there. And the marble process is here. I know, I've had that one so many times. It will be coming. I just have to wait for my hands. So when the hands are good, we're going to sit down and we're going to film that marble tutorial for y'all. But yes, let me know down below. I love hearing from you all, and I appreciate you all so much for watching this video. I can't wait to see all of you that post your own completed pages videos. And for those of you that are just here watching and don't have a YouTube channel, that's quite alright as well. Let me know down below what your wins were for the month. What did you complete from your own collection that you're really proud of or you're really happy with? You know, I really love hearing from you guys. As always, if you need to message me about anything, you can comment down below. You can also message me on Instagram. I'm also at Amy Ward Art on Instagram. I am really getting close to 1,000 on Instagram, which would be so cool to hit. And we have skyrocketed past the 3K on YouTube as well. So I think once we hit 1,000 on Instagram, I might do like a Ask Me Anything video or get to know me video and just do it as like a combined celebration for the two, because 3K hit in the middle of the mental breakdown and I just haven't gotten to do anything yet. So thank you so much too for all the subscribes. There's been a lot of new subscribers and friends joining us on the channel this month, and I am so grateful that you'll appreciate my rambly, messy, technically not proficient, out of focus, weird lighting, end slates ending up in the middle of a video content. I appreciate you all the aroha or love to you all. Take care. Let's have so much fun this November. Remember, whatever you achieve, I'm proud of you because you did something. That's all you have to do. Just give it a go. You don't have to complete a page. You don't have to complete 10 pages. You don't even have to start a page. Mental health breaks are also valid. But make sure you take care of yourself because you're the only one of you. And you deserve to be taken care of. So much aroha to you all. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye! #NewBookNovember24. Let's go!